Hello friends, and welcome back to another gardening video. In this video I'll show you DIY orchid potting mix which you can make yourself and you can use it on your orchids to keep them healthy. And this is a good combination of the various ingredients like I'm showing over here. These are the 4 things that I'll be using. The first thing is the groundnut or pistachio shells. These are usually the salted ones that we consume during the winter season, and I kept all the shells and I'm going to first desalt it by soaking these groundnut shells and these pista shells in water. I'll be washing it once or twice and then I'll be soaking it for about 3 to 4 days, and then I'll be rinsing off the water and I'll be putting fresh water and I'll be re-soaking it so that all the salt gets removed, because the salt is going to damage the orchid plants. So it is really important that we desalt these shells. And in this video I'll also tell you about the usefulness of all these ingredients that we use as the orchid potting mix. So first of all, let me show you how to desalt these. So over here I have washed and soaked these shells in water, and for 2-3 days I'll be keeping it soaked like this, and then I'll be drying it off. This process I repeated twice or thrice, so for over a period of 7 to 10 days I had soaked it and then I dried it off. Make sure to dry off the shells completely before using them, and once the shells are completely dry, these are ready to be used and these are not going to have any trace of salt. The second ingredient will be the coconut husk or the coconut fiber, and I am going to cut them off into smaller pieces to create the coconut husk chips, and doing this helps the orchids take in the nutrients much more easily. So these also I am going to soak in water for a week, just in case if these come from an area where the coconut has fallen into the ocean and it has some salt on it, then that will be removed. So this is the step. I'll be soaking it and drying it off, and I repeated the same thing with the charcoal also. So you can create your own charcoal by burning off wood, or you can buy it from the market. So this is the first ingredient, that is the coconut husk. The coconut fibers absorb moisture but also drain quickly, so the orchid roots experience moist but not soggy growing conditions. These can be cut as per choice, and the whole long fibers can also be used. You can also simply grow orchids in coconut husk if you want, but I prefer adding these other ingredients as well. These coconut chips decompose slowly and ensure maximum air circulation for the orchid roots. The next important ingredient is this charcoal, and this is especially good for the Dendrobium orchids that I have, so I definitely put in a lot of charcoal. It is able to bind the nutritional substances like phosphorus and calcium, so it becomes readily available for the orchids. Charcoal also helps in good drainage and aeration of the roots, and it creates small pockets of air within the growing medium and also acts as a natural filter, removing impurities. The third ingredient are these peanut shells and the pista shells. So the peanut shells are rich in nitrogen, as it's actually a legume, and also helps retain moisture and improve the air and water circulation in the potting mix. These peanut and pistachio shells decay slowly and hence increase the life of the potting mix. The pistachio shells are perfect drainage medium and can stay in the potting mix for over a year without degrading. The fourth ingredient are these pieces of bricks. So pieces of bricks add weight and stability to the orchid pots, and the smaller sized pieces are good because the larger ones will be heavy, and they are also good for retaining water, which increases the humidity of the orchids. For creating this potting mix, I'm going to mix up all these 4 ingredients and make sure that they are spread evenly. Actually, this summer season I have seen that my orchids are growing actively, and this growth will continue throughout the rainy season. So it's really important that you provide them with a good potting mix for maximum growth. I'll be putting this potting mix in my orchid containers, which are 8-inch containers which I had got online. These are well aerated. There are a lot of ventilation holes all around and on the bottom. So on the lower half I added a little bit of this potting mix, And then I'm going to take my orchid sapling. So this is the sapling. You can see how the new branches and the new roots have come out because it is in the active growing phase. These were really tiny saplings and now they have grown so nicely, and I had kept them in my DIY humidity containers. So the roots have grown really nicely, and you can see how long the roots have become. They have grown down deeply into the potting mix, and new branches have also come out. So gently I'm going to take them out from these seedling containers which I had created, and then I'm going to use this. And because the potting mix over here is also okay, because it's been only 6 to 7 months since I had planted them, you can see how nicely the roots have come. And the brick, you can see how the orchid is attaching itself to the brick to stabilize itself. So bricks are really important. In this manner I'll be putting this orchid in the planter. So I'm going to make a little bit of space in the central area, and I'm going to put in the orchid. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the potting mix all around. Make sure that the roots which are down are covered properly, but make sure that you don't put down all the aerial roots which are coming out, because the aerial roots are given off so that the orchids can take the moisture from the atmosphere directly. So you don't have to push them into the potting mix. Let them be as they are, and in this manner I'll be putting more potting mix all around the roots, and I'll give it a gentle press so that the orchids are planted firmly, but I'm not going to squeeze it too much that the roots get damaged. And because all the roots were almost fresh, there were no rotting roots, so I didn't trim off anything. And in this manner I have repotted the orchid and then give it a nice spray of water, and this is done. So this potting mix is definitely going to last me for at least 1 year, because these are really big pots, and I'll be adding some more potting mix later on the top part, as there is a little bit more space remaining. So this is how you can easily create your own DIY orchid potting mix at home. I hope you found this video useful, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and thanks for watching.